those who want a second round of questions, those that asked earlier, please queue up behind the microphones. But I'm going to take the last two questions that I'm seeing. Please go ahead, the gentleman on the mic.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eli from eLifestyle Manila. For Ms. Vergel, Dios, you already mentioned the green aspect that you're maintaining, low power and so on and so forth, minimizing equipments. How about disposing your IT equipment, like for example, the old servers, the hard disk? How do you do this? Secondly, what are the things that you do to reduce power? Like for example, do you use recycled water, rainwater for cooling? Do you use solar for an alternative power? And those things. What else do you have?
Yeah, so for the e-waste, yung network equipment, we actually have a program of collecting e-waste, and we have accredited vendors who collect that e-waste and treat it responsibly. What we're starting now is a program of collection for retail, for our customers, and one of them is an enterprise customer, in fact, diba? Parang enterprise customers have retention phones. Normally, you either buy that or you throw it away, but this particular customer of enterprise, they collected their retention funds that they've had since 2014. So you can imagine how many that is, because it's very specific, right? To be able to transport that, you need a license, there's so much regulation around it. So basically what we're saying is we're going to be end-to-end in terms of our responsibility as, while we don't make the phones, while we don't make the routers, parang it's our business to deliver the service. So incidental to that are the gadgets. So we have a program for both our own equipment and those that our customers have. It's early days on the customer side, but we're starting to launch the collection program and then tying up with responsible treatment facilities. Now, what are we doing to save on cost? Some of them are very simple things, right? If we reduce the temperature in the cell site from what used to be, let's say, 22 degrees, that's for people. That's not for the equipment. If you take a look at the equipment, the rated heating capacity or the rated temperature that allows that equipment to operate okay is maybe 30. So you can actually adjust the temperature, and that simple adjustment is not capex. Doesn't require any capex. It's just an adjustment. Of course, we also have other more advanced technology, carbon fiber towers, fuels for the gensets. Sometimes they're a little more expensive than the conventional, but we're hoping to convince finance that there is a cost beyond just finance. There is responsibility. Now the question is, how do you input that shadow responsible tax in the equation? Diba? So it's still a long journey, but making progress and lots of things being done that we can talk about. Yeah,
Sir, data center question naman. So, Sir Mitch, since you have Santa Rosa, which is around 50 kilometers away from Metro Manila, are you considering up north like Clark or Tarlac, which is also 50 kilometers? And to add to that, may I know the tier certification you have on your data center? Is it tier 3, which is telco agnostic, tier 4, or multi-power already? So, okay, and then lastly, sir, what's your take on data localization prior to cloud?
Thank you for those questions. I think one at a time. EPLDT through Vitro, EPLDT Vitro already has Vitro Clark. So we actually have a data center in Clark already.
Yes.
We have a lot of customers there, a lot of people have been using it. A lot of our disaster recovery facilities, requirements of customers are actually housed in Vitro Clark, so we already have a facility there.
Hyperscaler ready na siya, sir?
No, it's a co-location facility. I think in terms of the choice for the next hyperscaler destination, we need to map out the requirements of the design that the hyperscalers have themselves. And you're correct, it shouldn't be 50 kilometers away from each other. So yes, venturing out to Clark, if you map that out to Santa Rosa, would be a bit over 50 kilometers, so medyo malayo. So we're trying to find basically a site which is within the 50-kilometer boundary or radius of Vitro Santa Rosa. Your second question was?
Tier 3 or Tier 4?
Tier 3. So our data centers are Tier 3, but they are telco agnostic sites also. I think for us, it's very clear that we are not competing solely with other telco or data center providers in the Philippines, but with other countries. We're competing with Indonesia, we're competing with Vietnam, we're competing for for the requirements of all of these big hyperscalers to look at the Philippines.
Yeah, actually, some
Yeah.
clients concerned looked at tier 3 minimum for their data
That's
centers.
correct. Yes, yes. And it has to be telco neutral,
Yes, sir.
right? So for us, that's a requirement. So we've invited, all of the telcos, both local and international, to connect to our Vitro sites. In fact, our Vitro Makati 2 is the most well-connected data center in the Philippines today. And we expect Vitro Santa Rosa to be also a very well-connected data center.
Sir, yung data localization.
Oo, medyo hot topic yan eh. I think what we are part of the private sector advisory council. Mr. Panilio, our CEO, sits there as part of the digital infrastructure track. And I think for us, it's very important that we're able to get the feedback and input from different stakeholders as to how they view data localization to begin with, right? And obviously, the way we look at data localization is it shouldn't be treated as a barrier for the Philippines and Philippine enterprises to be competitive, right? So our view is actually the reverse. Instead of taking a look at the data localization, our view is, as an industry or as a country, how do we maximize data? And what implementing rules and regulations do we as a country implement on data to allow the Philippines to be more globally competitive? That's kind of the angle that we are pursuing now, and we're doing this with various stakeholders in the industry, both government and private sector.
Miss Cathy, follow-up kay Sir Mitch. Gusto ko lang marinig si Sir Mitch. Sir Mitch, aside from the BPITM industry, what are the other industry that you are culturing to develop, like esports or sports? Are there other industry segments that you see to boom in the next future?
Yes, definitely. We're not limiting ourselves to specific industries, no, but just to name a few, we're really focused, this year and going to be more focused next year on end-to-end industry solutions. So I'm looking at e-health, the healthcare industry, quite big, needs to pivot. We're looking at e-learning or e-education as well. We're looking at e-airports. We need to transform our airports. Yeah, we need to be if we are going to be a transit hub or a hyperscaler hub, we need to improve our airports. So, hoping that we will be at the forefront of having that end-to-end solution for our airports. Transportation, as an example, I don't know if you know, but we actually launched the first connected cars in the Philippines. Yes. We have provided 50,000 eSIMs, IoT eSIMs for Toyota. It's in the Philippines. Yes. So all of your Toyota cars are, in the future, when you acquire one now, are all connected. And besides transportation, we're looking at logistics, we're looking at manufacturing. So it's covering everything. And we should not forget that we should also transform the backbone of the country, which is really the government. So we have a dedicated team for the national government, we have a dedicated team for the local government units, because it starts there before we can also transform the rest of the enterprises in the country.
Thank you po, Miss Cathy.
Thank you.
Thank you.